There are some events in history that prove to be pivot points. You look back at them and see how those moments changed the world. Early in the Broadway musical Hamilton, there's a scene when four key characters meet. Alexander Hamilton, Marquis de Lafayette, a slavery abolitionist named John Laurens, and a tailor's apprentice by the name of Hercules Mulligan. Poised at a pivotal moment in history, they share their dreams for a better future in a song called "The Story of Tonight." Raise our glass to the four of us. Tomorrow there'll be more of us, telling the story of tonight, the story of tonight. I don't think the apostles on that long ago night in the upper room had any ideas quite that grand. They could have not known what was about to happen, how their world was about to change. And yet, 2,000 years later, here we are telling the story of the night, the story of tonight, the story of the Last Supper. It is a night that reaches across history, a night when our hearts are filled with one last time, or lifted up one last time before they are broken. As one of the apostles put it another time, at another pivotal moment on the Mount of Transfiguration, it is good that we are here. It is good that we gather to tell this story again. So much of what we heard in the scriptures a few moments ago offers us this simple but insistent message. What is happening here matters. Pass it on. The reading from Exodus, marking the great Jewish event of Passover, concludes, "This day shall be a memorial feast for you, which all of your generations shall celebrate with pilgrimage to the Lord as a perpetual institution. Pass it on." In his letter, St. Paul wrote to the people of Corinth the earliest account of the Last Supper and said, "I received from the Lord what I also handed on to you." It was passed on to him. He passed it on to them. Here it is. He is saying, pass it on. And in St. John's Gospel, Jesus tells his followers, after he has washed their feet, "I have given you a model to follow." This is our model and our mission. Pass it on. To begin with, there are two great events that we commemorate this evening: the institution of the Eucharist and the institution of the priesthood. At the Last Supper, we are reminded that Jesus gave us himself, body and blood, soul and divinity, and gave us as well the way to keep giving us himself through the priesthood. This night is very special to me, to Father Chris, and every priest, as we are humbly grateful for the gift, the grace of our vocation to share in the priesthood of Jesus Christ, eternal high priest. And our seminarian, Thomas, looks forward to being ordained a priest, please God, in just 2 years. Our deacons who serve our parish share in the priesthood. As we give the immeasurable gift of the Eucharist in every Mass, we celebrate with you, the good and faithful people of God. We give as well the gift of our lives in priestly service. We humbly continue what Jesus began. We pass it on. But there is something else that Jesus asked the apostles to carry forward, something else to pass on. This is our great charge, our great challenge. It is to do what Jesus did. Daniel Berrigan famously said, "If you want to follow Jesus, you better look good on wood." This evening's account from John's Gospel tells us where that really begins. It begins on the ground. It begins on our knees. as slaves to one another. To paraphrase Berrigan, if you want to follow Jesus, you better look good with a basin and towel. We need to serve one another, helping wash away the dirt and the pain and the dust of the world, the residue of life. The one who received all power in heaven and on earth humbled himself, not just before his friends. He humbled himself before those who betray him and deny him and run away in fear. He did it for this simple reason, to show them visibly and beautifully how to love. This is our model to follow. This is where the great work begins. We hear it asked so often, what would Jesus do? Here's the answer. Even on the last night of his life, the greatest teacher continues to teach. Before his own death, he showed us how we are to die to ourselves. You know, in some places, this day is known as Maundy Thursday. Maundy is derived from the Latin word mandatum, meaning mandate. What is our mandate? It is there in the verse that was sung before the gospel, and it comes from the words Jesus spoke just after this scene. I give you a new commandment. Love one another as I have loved you. Love one another. Pass it on. In a few moments, the elect of our RCIA, our parish representatives who are here tonight, will come forward to have their feet washed. My brothers and sisters, try to remember this night, this event, because it reaches beyond just getting your feet wet. Remember the words of Jesus. Remember our call, our command, our mandate. Wash one another's feet. I have given you a model to follow so that as I have done, you should also do. Remember what this means. Cherish what is about to happen here. And that includes the rest of this beautiful evening, even in the way it ends. This too is the part of the story of tonight. Tonight, like the apostles, we will walk with Jesus to a garden, that tabernacle that is set up here in the side altar, surrounded by fresh flowers. So often Jesus walked with us. Tonight, we walk with him. We pray with him and pray for one another. We pray for our broken and wounded world, especially the people of Ukraine, men, women, and children who have died, been wounded, have fled in fear. Over 4 million refugees whose lives have been terrorized and shattered. We pray for them. There at the side altar, amid the flowering signs of life, we remember that mankind's fall began in a garden named Eden. And we remember anew that Jesus began his passion, what brought about our redemption, in a garden named Gethsemane. At his Last Supper, Jesus told us to celebrate the Eucharist with these simple words, "Do this in memory of me." Well, all of what we share tonight is an act of remembrance and adoration and faith. It has been this way since the beginning, that night in an upper room when history was made and everything changed. Soon there will be more of us telling the story of this night, the story of tonight. My friends, this is our story, a story of humility and hope, a story of sacrifice and salvation, a story of love. Pass it on.